She's embarrassed, but I just want to thank you. So Ben would always, like, he'd be there. And then we had one poll where Ben went ahead. It was the biggest story worldwide. I said, this guy is unbelievable. And so I started going after Ben. And it's politics. I mean, Ben understands that. And I was really impressed with the way he fought back, because he fought back with silence and strength. And I even comment on it. Somebody else would have gone, you know, they would have gone well. He has great confidence in himself. And I was very, very impressed. And it is true. He's the one person, I use the expression, I couldn't lose him. I couldn't shake him. He did so well. And just go up, 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 so steady, so solid. And I fought back and I hit him hard. And he, which is politics, and Ben understands that. And he understood that because I talked to him about it yesterday. But he handled it with such dignity. I frankly thought it was amazing. I actually gained a lot of respect for him. Okay.
So on that point, though, Mr. Trump, you talked about the two Donald Trumps, that there may be, Dr. Ben Carson brought that up. When you say things like, you know, I want to punch a protester in the face, or when you said the things about Dr. Ben Carson, is it just politics? Are you playing a character there?
It's politics and it's fact. Let me just tell you, we've had some violent people as protesters. You know, they're not just people saying, oh, these are people that punch. These are people that are violent people. I get the biggest crowds by far, not even a contest. And, you know, you people don't like to report it, but actually the one thing good about protesters is you have to go into these stadiums, these massive stadiums with 25 and 30,000 people, and you have to, at least you see, because the cameras never turn. Hey, Ben, the cameras never, ever turn and show the stadium. I always say turn and show how the stadium, they don't. But when there's a protester up in the corner, it's great because the cameras all turn. That's the only reason. Because, you know, it's a negative as opposed to a positive, so they turn. But we've had a couple that were really violent, and the particular one, when I said, like to bang them, that was a very vicious, you know, he was a guy who was swinging, very loud, and then started swinging at the audience. And you know what? The audience swung back. And I thought it was very, very appropriate. He was swinging, he was hitting people, and the audience hit back. And that's what we need a little bit more of. Now, I'm not talking about just a protester. This was a guy who should not have been allowed to do what he did. And frankly, if you want to know the truth, the police were very, very restrained. The police have been amazing, but the police were very, very restrained. Okay, yes?
Mr. Trump, did the RNC ever come to you, and I don't know if you know about the other candidates, but did they ever come to you and say this debate needs to be more civil?
No, they didn't.
If not, why do you think it was more civil?
I just think it was time. It was time. It was very substantive last night. I said before, it was a very elegant debate. It was very substantive. It was, Ben came in and he said, that was really a very beautiful debate last night. It's gotten great reviews as a debate. I won't tell people that I won, even though I did win, let me just say. I refuse to say that. Time Magazine, 80. Slate, 84. Fox, 91% at Fox. I don't believe it. NewJersey.com, 81. So, I mean, we had a debate last night, and I think I did what I had to do, actually. But it was, I don't know. You know, we've had enough debates, in my opinion. We've had debates, these debates, they've been like Vince McMahon should have put them on because they were WWE and too much. And I think that it really, I think last night was something that was very important that it come off like that. And we didn't speak, and the candidates didn't speak about it, but it just sort of morphed into a very dignified debate. Yes?
Mr. Trump.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Mr. Trump, you said in the debate last night you hadn't decided whether you're going to accept fundraising for the general election.
Accept what?
Whether you're going to raise money for the general election. But if you go that route, doesn't it undermine your pledge to voters that you won't be beloved?
Well, I don't think so, because I wouldn't be taking money. If anything, the party would be taking money. I'm not going to take any money. I don't want money. But the party might take money. It's up to the party. That's really up to them. It's not up to me. And it's something I haven't given much thought to. You know, I've self-funded my campaign. I put in, I guess I'll be in for $50, $60 million at a minimum. Right now, you know, I am somebody that's a business person, and even when I don't, the money is sort of irrelevant, but I have a natural instinct to be a little bit careful with money because that's the way I am. That's the way we have to be with our country. I expect to have, you know, tremendous amounts of money in this by the time we finish. I guess right now I'm into, you would know better than me, maybe $30 million, maybe more. But other people are in for $150 million, and they're nowhere. They're out of the race. So I'm very proud of the race we've run. You know, somebody said, you know, he's only been doing this for 8 months. But I know the system better than anybody. And the reason I know, because I was on the other side of the system. So when they talk about campaign finance laws, when they talk about all of these different things, I've been there. I know it much better. And I know it from the real side, not from the politician's side. Yes?
Mr. Trump, I just want to go
Good
back.
job last night, by the way.
Thank you, sir. I want to go back to what Major asked and also what Tom asked about what Dr. Carson said this morning on the radio and here about the two Donald Trumps. So many people know you and like you because of your public persona. Is that the real Donald Trump, or is it something that we don't see?
Well, it's an interesting question. I don't like to overanalyze myself, but I will tell you that I try and be, who I am. I want to be honest. Certain questions are asked of me, and I give a straight answer as opposed to a politically correct answer. I know the politically correct business better than anybody.
Would you answer differently if you were in private?
No, I don't think so. I'd like to. I answer truthfully. Look, we're at a point where we have to start being truthful with our country. Like the question on Islam. I'm answering the question, and I know the exact answer. I could have given an answer the other night to Anderson Cooper, which would have been perfect, and nobody would have been talking about it. It would have been fine. But there is a problem, and we've got to find out what the problem is. We have to solve the problem, and you're not going to solve the problem unless you know there is a problem. So I want to answer questions honestly and forthrightly, and even if I'm on a big stage with all of these tremendous numbers of cameras around, I have to answer honestly. It's the only way we're going to solve the difficulties of our country. Yes, go ahead.
Just along the same lines, so why are there two Donald Trumps? Did you at some point make a conscious decision to behave differently in public?
I don't think there are two Donald Trumps. I think there's one Donald Trump, but certainly you have, look, all of this, and you have somebody else that sits and reads and thinks. And I'm a thinker, and I have been a thinker. And perhaps people don't think of me that way because you don't see me in that forum, but I am a thinker. I thought it was very nice what Ben said, actually, because it is another side of me. I'm a very deep thinker. I know what's happening, okay?
Dr. Carson said that we start seeing more of that side of you. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, I'm going to work with Ben on so many different things. And I'll be honest, when I was with Ben yesterday, the thing that most impressed me, I know all about his views on health care because I've heard them, and I've always felt that he knew more about it than the other people on the stage, and perhaps he should because that was what he was doing. But I was most impressed with his views on education. It's a strength, and it's a tremendous strength. And so Ben's going to be involved with us in any aspect he wants to be, but in particular on those two subjects. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I meant more of this toned-down version, what we saw last night, what Dr. Carson referred to as your cerebral side. Do you plan to tone down your performances as
It depends. You can't say. I didn't go there as a toned-down person. I went, and whatever happens, happens. You have to be able to swing with the punches. And, to be honest with you, I went there. I didn't know if I was going to be. If I was hit, I would have hit back. Now, there are those people that said to me, I was telling Ben yesterday, there were those people that said, it doesn't matter, let them call you names, let them do whatever they want, stand there and take it. You're leading, you've got a substantial lead, nobody's going to beat you, don't do anything. And I say, I can't do that. When somebody hits, I have to hit back. So I thought they were very respectful yesterday. I thought, frankly, everybody did well. I thought it was I used the expression. I thought it was a very elegant debate last night. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Trump, two quick things. You said earlier that you felt we've had enough debates. There is potentially another debate scheduled on March 21st. Is your suggestion to the RNC at this point, guys, we've had enough?
I think we've had enough debates. I mean, how many times do you have to give the same answer to the same question? Do you agree with that, Ben? I mean, the same question, same people, same everything. I think, it would be nice to finish off with this one. I thought CNN did a fantastic job last night. I thought that Jake was a great moderator. It was just a really nice way to finish off the debate season. But I really think it's enough debates. I don't think there's any reason for the debates. I know they're getting very big ratings. And by the way, the Democrats are not getting ratings at all. And our debates are getting very, very big ratings. But, one of those things. I think we had enough. The networks want them. I don't think any of the candidates want them at this point. The networks very much want them.
Can you talk about also, there's a phrase you've been using the last several days on the trail and in interviews. You've said embrace it. to the Republican Party? I know you were asked a little bit about that earlier.
Yeah.
As you move forward now, and as the contests start to limit, what are you going to do? Are you going to find yourself surrounding yourself with more people who are endorsing you, speaking on your
Well, when I
behalf?
said embrace, I was saying that the Republican Party should come together and embrace these millions of people that are going down and voting. Millions. You know, South Carolina, New Hampshire, no matter where it is, it's the millions and millions of people. We've had, I was going to bring down a list, and I said I didn't want to bore you people, but we've had some states that are up 102% from 4 years ago. 102%. There's something happening that's really beautiful to see. And these are people, in many cases, as I said last night, these are people that have never voted. Ben, I have people coming up, they said, and I'm talking about 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. So many people. They say, Mr. Trump, I've never voted before. And they've got a Trump shirt on. I mean, they never put a political shirt on in their lives. They weren't political people. They never had confidence in the people that they were voting for. They said, I have had so, I mean, literally, when I shake hands with people or when I sign autographs, people are saying, I've never voted before, Mr. Trump, but I am so proud to be voting. And some people go early voting. It's been an amazing thing. And what I said to the Republican Party, the establishment, if there is such a thing, I guess I used to be a member of the establishment 8 months ago, but if there is such a thing, I'm not sure that there is. But I said, embrace it instead of fighting it. Instead of fighting me like this, you know, these people from Club for Growth. These are people that came to my office. They asked me for $1 million. I said, who are they? I don't even know who they are. They asked me for $1 million. And I said, well, let me think about it. Then I found out who they are, and I said, I'm not going to waste $1 million. Why would I give them $1 million? And as soon as I said that, they started doing negative ads. They went negative on me. If I would have given them $1 million, they wouldn't be doing negative ads. They're extortionists. They're extortionists. That's all they are. And I look on television, I see negative ads, which are all wrong. The ads are lies, by the way. But you know, so that's what you have. We should embrace it. The Republican Party should grab this, and we will have a victory like the Republican Party has never had before. One of the things Ben and I were talking about, I will win Michigan. That's not in the playbook for the Republican Party. I think I have a chance to win New York. That's not in the playbook. Can you imagine if you win New York? You know, they always talk about the 6 states you have to win, the Florida, Virginia, you know, just go down the line, Pennsylvania, Ohio. You have to win certain states. If you lose one of them, it's over for the Republican Party. The fact is, the structurally, it's much more difficult for somebody to get elected from the Republican Party. Everybody knows that. With me, I add a lot of states that aren't even in play for anybody else. I mean, I add all of the Rust Belt states. I own states that I will get states that are unbelievable, that are unthinkable for the Republican Party. And we should embrace it. All right, a couple more and we'll go on.
Mr. Trump, you said Dr. Carson over there would be handling education for you. Here in Florida, a lot of people are angry about Common Core. It just came in a few years ago. But it's up to the states to handle that. So how would Dr. Carson do something about the issue that a lot of people have with Common Core?
Well, Ben knows the education. He knows what's going on. And I'm personally very much opposed to Common Core. I like local education. Ben feels very much the same way. I think Ben is going to do a tremendous service for helping the states because, you know, we want to see it. There's great love in education, and when you circle those schools with the parents and the teachers and everything else, instead of some bureaucrat in Washington, you're going to do a lot better. Okay.
Have you had any conversations with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell?
I have not yet. I'm sure I will, but I have not yet. I have not yet.
What is your reaction to the news that Mitch McConnell has been advising vulnerable Senate Republicans on, you know, running away from you if you were the nominee?
I'm sure that will change. Yeah.
Do you think that the Republican Party leadership, those that are in Washington right now, are disconnected from the Republican base, the electorate? Is that who you're seeing as maybe potentially dividing, uniting the electorate against the party leadership?
It's true. There's a big disconnection between the so-called leadership. I don't even know what the leadership is. I can't define the leadership because nobody knows what it is. But there's a big disconnect between the so-called leadership and the people. But the people, to me, are much more important because they're the ones doing the voting. That's why I'm standing up here today and other people aren't.
Why do you think there is a disconnect? What are they not understanding about their
The Republican Party lost its way. They've lost 2 elections that they should have won. Certainly the last election they absolutely should have won easily. That should have been an easy victory. In my opinion, much easier than the one we have coming up. And they lost. So the Republican Party lost its way. the Republican Party now, something has happened. Call it a miracle, call it whatever you want to do, but they're talking about it all over the world. It's the biggest story in all of politics. It's one of the big stories of the world. The millions and millions of people that are pouring into the Republican Party, not to the Democrats, to the Republican Party. And these are people that were disenfranchised. These are people that haven't had a pay increase in 20 years. These are people that have seen their jobs go to China and to Mexico and to Japan.